Hey everybody, this is a new episode of Am I the A-hole? While you guys watch my mediocre gameplay. Or maybe it's not mediocre, maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit because sometimes I do be popping off. Anyways, the theme for today's episode is going to be somewhere along the lines of partners being weirdos or partners crossing boundaries. I guess I'll decide on that later on, depending on what the story is about. I don't really read the stories, by the way. I don't read the stories before I tell you guys them. I just read the titles. So we're gonna find out together what these are about. And you guys let me know in the comments what you guys think of these stories. Are the people that wrote this the a-hole? Are the people that are talking about the a-hole? Or is everybody the a-hole? That's usually the way it goes in these stories. Okay, the first story is coming from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? And it's by user few underscore respond 8063. The title goes, Am I the asshole for telling my wife I don't want her mom to have her location all the time now? My wife shares her location with her family and sometimes her friends. I never really thought much about it, and I don't share my location with her, which she has never liked. I personally don't like it, and it freaks me out to be tracked 24/7. The issue was earlier this week. I needed a surgery and I wanted to keep everything private. I didn't tell my own mom and dad. My wife agreed not to share with anyone either. It was on Monday and everything went well overall until my wife's mother showed up. She apparently noticed my wife was at the hospital when she didn't came down. She thought my wife was hurt. It became a big thing and basically everyone on my wife's side was told that someone was in the hospital. My own mom and dad were contracted. Oh, I think they meant to write contacted. My own mom and dad were contacted and I had to explain the situation. I hated this. It is clear to me that if my wife is tracked 24/7, then I am being tracked. I hate that this whole situation got out because people knowing my wife's location. My wife and I got into an argument and I don't want her sharing location anymore with her mother or family 24/7. She is calling me controlling and a dick. I am pointing out that it is invading my own privacy and that she needs to cut the string on her mom. What do you guys think? Um, right off the bat, though, I could tell you guys that I share my location with my sister and my brother. And I really don't mind if they're tracking my location because I know that they're not going to be doing it like all the time. Like they have their own lives and stuff. But even if my mom had my location, I don't think I would like really mind either, to be honest with you. But I don't know if that's just because I grew up like in a really like clingy family. Not saying it's okay though, by the way, because I still think it's kind of crazy that the mom showed up to the hospital instead of just calling the wife. You know, like why not just check in first before you show up? Because then it became like this whole thing. And I can see like on the husband's side why that would be annoying and an invasion of privacy because it's like, damn, you can't even get like a procedure done in private without everybody asking questions and stuff, you know? By the way, I'm getting over like a cold, so if I sound like really stuffy, I apologize in advance, okay? But yeah, what do you guys think? I'm gonna read you guys the first comment here. First comment in this thread is by user Trisha Nama Randu. Anyways, they said, "We're that she thinks that you're controlling, but not her family who apparently needs to know where she is every minute, not the asshole." That is true. Like, why did the wife call him controlling? Like, he's just asking for basic privacy. Like, I don't think that's a lot to ask for. Kind of crazy that she called him a dick and said that he was controlling. The second comment underneath this thread says, and she can't see it's weird that they're actually checking her location on the daily rather than in an emergency, than making an emergency out of nothing. And then the following comment says, this is a big point that a lot of people are missing. Mother-in-law called, daughter didn't answer, so she checks her daughter's location and drives to said location. There are countless reasons why daughter could be at the hospital and only one reason why mother-in-law should show up if she's invited to. Yeah, I don't know, cuz I mean, what do you guys think? How do you guys think about this? Would you guys be upset if your significant other's mother-in-law showed up to the hospital because they thought that your partner was in the hospital was actually you and it was because of like a private procedure that you wanted done? I don't think I'd be that bothered, but at the same time, I don't even think my husband would be bothered by it either, to be honest. Well, maybe he would be because he's kind of private. I don't know. I kind of have mixed opinions on this. The second comment says, not the asshole, maybe it's a generational thing, but I find the whole location tracking thing really invasive and I am flabbergasted that people don't mind it. Flabbergasted. It's not about having something to hide, it's about respecting people's privacy and not wanting to have a big brother watching you every second of the day. Maybe it is a generational thing because I don't really feel bothered by it. And I'm a millennial, so like I really do feel like a lot of these things with technology, I feel very hot and cold, like one or the other. I don't really feel in the middle of these things sometimes. Like with the whole location thing, I never really minded. I share my location with 4 different people. My siblings, my husband, and I think one of my best friends has my location. And I don't really mind it because I don't really do anything. So that's just me. A lot of people are saying not the asshole though, which I understand. Like I'm not even opposed to it. I get it. I completely get it. I guess it just depends on the person. The second comment underneath that initial comment says, generational and situational, in my opinion. There's families such as mine who use it as a safety if one of us suddenly stopped communicating and became unreachable without warning. For a good while, when I was struck out on my own, my folks had access to my location via Find My Friends. If they snooped on me, I never knew it as I was never questioned or judged about where I went at any given moment. We still use it today, though it's more manual since now it's a mix of Android and iPhone users. When I travel, I send a share link to the people in my family just in case something happens. If anyone ever used that to interrogate me or someone I was with or about where I was, I'd stop using it. That's an overreach. I think that's why I don't mind because I am a very nervous person. Like even when I go out, I always send my location out because I'm nervous something's gonna happen to me. I don't know if I'm just overly anxious. So I'm not even really worried about anybody judging where I'm at. I'm more worried about like something happening to me and then nobody knowing where the hell I was. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. And a lot of people are saying not the asshole, which, like I said, I understand. I'm going to read you guys a voting guide. I don't know if I ever went over this, but the voting guide right here in this subreddit of Am I the Asshole usually goes, you're the asshole, which means you're in the wrong, obviously. You would be the asshole, which means that, like, if it's a situation that hasn't happened yet and they're asking for advice if they should do it, then, like, yeah, like, you would be the asshole, you know? Not the asshole, which means it's not your fault. It's the other person's fault. You would not be the asshole, like situation that hasn't happened yet that you're asking for. Everyone sucks here, which means everyone's an asshole. And then no assholes here, like no one's an asshole, obviously. And then info, not enough info. So I should have read this voting guide like the first episode I had, but it slipped my mind. So my apologies. Hopefully, if any of you guys are new to this subreddit, hopefully you guys understand. It's pretty self-explanatory though. All right, second story of the day. Hope you guys are having a great day, by the way. For me, it is a Thursday afternoon and it's quite sunny outside. I kind of don't like it. I wish it was colder. It's already 84 degrees out here in Vegas, so completely skipped over spring and winter and we went right on into summer. Love that for us. Anyways, next story is from the subreddit Am I the Asshole? And the user is named Not So Good Reason. The title is Am I the Asshole for Letting Him Eat What He Cooked? And the story goes as follows. Me, 35 female, and my spouse, 38 male, are the parents of a 5-year-old neurodivergent kid. My husband refuses to educate himself on that topic. At the same time, he has recently admitted how much he hates my tendencies to micromanage everything. I can understand that, though I'm not the only one assessing and anticipating our daughter's mental state in order to be able to regulate her nervous system and prevent avoidable meltdowns. Yet, in order to save a relationship, I am learning to keep my mouth shut. Today, our daughter returned home really overstimulated. I let her draw and played some calm music to let her unwind. Later, my husband decided to play a video game, but my daughter wanted his attention. Therefore, he chose to show her the game. The game has a lot of visual and flashing effects, and as always, he turned the volume up. They were doing so for approximately an hour while I was tidying our daughter's bedroom. When he decided to quit the game, our 5-year-old started being really dysregulated and difficult, having a hard time, and he could not get her to bathe. That's when he came to me to take over, and I decided to say no. Am I the asshole for keeping him responsible for his choices? Is it malicious to let him deal with the consequences when he perceives my recommendations as nagging? See, I don't have. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna say I don't have any kids, so I don't know what it's like to be the parent of a 5-year-old, let alone a 5-year-old neurodivergent kid. But I do know that I have a lot of like neurodivergent tendencies. So I can't imagine how difficult it must be to try to handle like your emotions like as a child, having to like educate yourself and learn how to help your child during these times. It sounds frustrating on the mom's part because I know parenting's like a team, like more of a teamwork thing. And especially if you're learning about how to help your child regulate their feelings when they're already like struggling with them, and then like your husband is not helping you, or like, husband or wife, whatever, but in this case husband. That sounds really frustrating. So it's like you can't just give your kid to your, like, I hate that. That actually kind of frustrates me actually. The amount of like TikToks I've seen sometimes where it's like the mom is like taking care of her kid, and then she asks the husband to like take over for a little bit, and then the husband's just waiting and like putting pressure on the mom curry so that way she can just like take her place back watching over the kid again. I don't know if you guys have seen TikToks like that. Like I've seen a TikTok one time where this mom was getting ready. She was literally like she wanted to take a shower and like put makeup on. So she gave her kid to her husband, and the husband was like literally just like standing over her with the baby, literally waiting every freaking second, just like following her like a shadow. Instead of just like taking the kid on his own and trying to play with the baby, like, you know what I mean? That's so annoying. It's like you help make this child too. You have to carry your weight. You can't just give your child to the other parent when it starts to feel tough on you. Like that's so annoying. So no, not the asshole. That's what I would say. I feel like that's pretty straightforward. No, what do you guys think? The first comment is from Orange Flows, and they said, "Not the asshole. Our therapist is adamant that stop stepping in when my husband is parenting. I do it for exactly the same reason you do. Husband is educating himself, and the results can be escalating dysregulation from both parties and meltdowns. He, my husband, and yours, needs to learn to adjust his parenting style to the kid's needs, not expect a perfectly behaved adult in a neurodivergent child's body." Yep, that makes perfect sense. Also, I think I'm gonna read neurodivergent for like anybody that's listening. They're just like, what does that mean? Okay, so the description of neurodivergent means people who brains functions, learns, and processes information differently than was considered typical. It's an umbrella term for conditions like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and others, often characterized by unique sensory experiences, intense focus, or communication differences. Key strengths include creativity and innovation, while challenges may include social, organizational, and sensory difficulties. So usually people that have ADHD, dyslexia, OCD, um, like usually there's people like that usually are neurodivergent. I'm trying to think of a good example of that. I feel like I have a little bit of tendency sometimes, but I don't know if it's just me. I don't want to like self-diagnose myself, but I get sensory overload like very easily, whether it's like textures, when it comes to like clothing, or when it comes to audio. When things are too loud, I get really overstimulated. If things are too loud and there's too many loud audio sources around me, for example, like I'm watching, there's a movie on and it's super loud, and someone's playing music and it's super loud, and then someone's also having a conversation with me and they're super loud, like that's gonna send me over the edge, honestly. Stuff like that. When there's too many like directions of conversation directed at me or even around me, that's really overstimulating for me too. Or even with like food sometimes also. I don't know if any of that makes sense. Trying to see if there's anything here that I can actually show you guys. Oh, hyper focusing. Yes, that is one thing that affects me a lot. Like if I'm it takes me a long, like I do content creation, a lot of content creation, and it takes me a lot to be focused. I have ADHD, but I'm not under any medication, so it takes me a while to get focused on things I need to get done. And once I get focused on something, like I'll get like super hyper focused on it, where if I even get just if someone comes into my bubble of me being focused and like talks to me or distracts me in any way, it completely ruins my day. Like I can't even explain it. It sounds so dramatic, but like I swear I get so frustrated because I'm so lasered focused, and I feel so motivated in that moment that just like one thing shattering that can just like make me so frustrated. It's hard to explain. It sounds so like I don't know if any of this is making sense. Is it making sense to you guys? I don't know. Maybe I'm over explaining. I do that a lot. But yeah, hope I explained it. I think I did. Sorry. Anyways, back to the story. So, the comment underneath the initial one that I read earlier says, "I need to hear not expect a perfectly behaved adult in a neurodivergent body. So thank you. Sincerely, a neurodivergent former child who is expected to act like a perfectly behaved adult." Yeah, that's true. I feel like I don't know if it's just like older generations, but I think it's nice now, like hearing that like mental health is being more of like a priority now because I feel like a lot of older generations kind of put it on the back burner. Like I don't think they, I mean, not saying that they really even knew because I don't think there was like a lot of awareness really for mental health education and stuff. And I mean, for stuff like that. And I feel like now that there is, people are actively like learning about it and getting tested and like seeking help or going to like therapists. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's really, I like that that's a change in the cycle because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that grew up not knowing they're like neurodivergent or had ADHD or something like that. And then they're barely finding out now as an adult, you know? Okay. Second comment says, I was hoping this was a story about food. Oh yeah, that's true. Because I think the initial story title had to do with food. So I wonder why it was something different. Maybe I'm just slow. The third comment down says, not the asshole. Your daughter's behavior is a direct result of your husband's choice to play that video game that loudly for that long with her. You could have called it ahead of time, except that he says that you micromanage him when you point out the future consequences of his actions. I'd have a conversation with him later when everyone is calm and make the following points. One, when I see you down a path that will result in Jane being overstimulated, do you want me to stop you or do you want me to say something? Two, if I do, I need to know what counts as micromanaging or nagging you. Three, whether you do or do not want me to intervene, you are Jane's father and you should know at this point what will trigger her and cause this. You should know that at this point how to calm her down, and it should not be my job to follow behind you and clean up the mess you make, especially when you say I'm nagging if I try to warn you. And four, all of this happened because Jane wanted to spend time with you and you chose to play a video game instead of taking, playing, reading, watching TV or whatever with her. And the comment underneath says this should be the top comment. That's true. It's like, dude, like, you should have to teach her how to be a dad. And, like, if you're her parent, you should know these things too. Honestly. Like, why am I telling you, like, why am I. Okay, like it's so conflicting because he says that she's micromanaging, so then she doesn't do anything, right? But then when she doesn't do anything and then that situation explodes in his face and he wants her to handle it. So it's like pick a side. Do you want me to micromanage you and hold your hand on how to like be a dad to our kid, or do you want me to lay off and let you handle it? Because if you're going to handle it, then you need to handle the whole thing, you know? That's just my opinion. I just work here. I'm not a parent, by the way, okay? So I don't know. I don't know these things. I'm just a simple observer of this story. Okay. But yeah, what do you guys think about that story? Do you guys know anyone that's neurodivergent? Is this your first time hearing about something like this? Or are you yourself neurodivergent? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right, guys. This is the last story. And it is called Am I the Asshole for Not Playing Dumb on a Double Date? And this is from the subreddit Am I the Asshole? The user is unique-taylor4358. Okay. This happened years ago, but I told the story recently and some of my friends acted like I was the asshole. I used to work with this girl, Chelsea, who would tell me that she always thought I would be a good fit for her friend Nicole. Each time she said this, it felt like she had no idea we have had this conversation before, and I was actively getting better at navigating the conversation. For example, I had gone from is she cute to what do we have in common? And she had gone from rolling her eyes to telling me that we were both tall and Chelsea's attractive and her friends match, including this stereotypically very attractive tall blonde named Nicole. And I really wanted Chelsea to follow through with setting this up, but she never did while we worked together. Fast forward a few years and I run into her again. Chelsea is working at this high-end liquor store near my office and I see her from time to time. She mentions Nicole again and says that we'd be a great fit, and this time I really push for the setup. She tells me the same spiel about how Nicole is also tall and we have the same sense of humor, that she's a waitress at a nice restaurant nearby, and all the other interests as well. Chelsea even tells me that she remembers one day I chatted her up about The Walking Dead at work, and after work, she was hanging out with Nicole, who basically repeated everything I had said earlier. We exchanged numbers, and later that day, she tells me a time and place. The plan is for Chelsea, her fiance, Nicole, and myself. I creep her social medias, and it's pretty obvious it's wildly out of my league, Nicole. The morning of, she tells me that we need to postpone. It sucks, but it happens, and we reschedule it for the following week. Same place, I come prepared. New haircut, new outfit, study the menu, everything I think of to put my best foot forward. And I'm introduced to a very different Nicole. This Nicole is short, fairly overweight, works at a daycare. I can tell from everyone's reaction that I'm visibly disappointed. I decided to go through with the date, but I just keep bringing the conversation back to what I knew about her, asking questions like, when did you get bored of The Walking Dead? Or how long have you been a waitress? And, oh, Chelsea mentioned you have been best friends since you guys were kids. Chelsea was trying her best to talk her way around it, but Nicole was visibly upset. The girls went to the bathroom and the fiance asked me what the fuck I was doing. And I told him that Chelsea was obviously meant to set me up with someone else. He said she did, and Nicole kept asking to postpone and clearly he was interested, so she found someone else, more in my league. I gave him a sharp look and he followed with, okay, she found another Nicole. So, what do you guys think? I mean, that is kind of messed up though. Okay, like one, why did she like talk up her friend being such a good fit for this guy and then not bring that girl to this guy? You know, like why did she at the last minute switch it up? Because I don't get that she said that. Oh, I understand now. Cause okay, so Nicole kept asking to postpone. Okay, I get it now. So her girlfriend, the one that he was looking forward to meeting, wasn't interested in the guy that's writing this post. So that's why she found a different Nicole. But at that point, how come she just didn't tell him that though? How come she just didn't tell him like, hey, she's not interested? That's what I would have done. I would have been like, hey, like she's not really feeling you after all. Sorry. Instead of just finding like a new girl that he just knows nothing about, you know? Did he say that this girl was overweight, or did he say that? Did he say that this girl was like? Oh yeah, he said this Nicole is short, fairly overweight, works at a daycare, and everyone can tell that I'm visibly disappointed. That's kind of mean too. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like everyone sucks. What do you guys think? The first comment says everyone sucks here except the new Nicole. Honestly, yeah, because this was such a big lack of communication that could have just been resolved from the jump. The comment underneath that says justice for for the new Nicole. The second comment says you're the asshole. The new Nicole didn't deserve to be embarrassed. She probably didn't even know what was going on, and you went out of your way to be weird to her and teach her. You went out of your way to be weird to her and teach her former coworker a lesson. You could have just made some excuse to leave the day early. You could have just had dinner with their friends and their plus one and then told off the coworker later. You could have just rolled with it and maybe met a new nice person, but you chose whatever that was. Real Nicole was right to blow this whole thing off. The comment underneath that says exactly treat like an innocent stranger like garbage, pretty childish and jerky. He was treated like complete garbage. Chelsea is a TA. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. It didn't click to me that when he was talking to her like the old Nicole, like he was being an asshole. Cause you know how in the beginning he said that the friend was telling him about this girl Nicole that they had everything in common, and then when they met with this girl, it wasn't the same girl, but the guy kept treating her as if she was that girl, even though she wasn't. So that's why like people are saying that he's a jerk for that, which I understand. Cause like, why would you do that? What the hell? Like, you know, it's not the same girl. He said it. He even said it himself that this was not the same Nicole. That she was shorter, that she was overweight, that all this and that, and he still was talking to her like as if she was a different girl, which is kind of messed up. Not kind of. That is messed up. Like, what did she do? She was just a bystander in this situation. Well, not a bystander. She was in it, but she wasn't a part of like she wasn't a part of this. She wasn't in on this situation. You know. Um, the comment underneath that says he was treated like complete garbage, or he was treated like complete garbage. Chelsea is the asshole. She is This is easy. She messed up the new Nicole and coworker to blame. This on OP is completely out of line. Unfreaking believable. There's a consensus that OP is an asshole. You guys be taking some hard drugs. Wait, that's not fair though, because okay, like it's not okay. It's not the guy's fault that he ended up going to a double date. He didn't stand. It's not the guy's fault that he showed up to a double date that he didn't sign up for. But at the same time, like, why do you have to go and take it out on the girl that was? Why do you have to go and take it out on the new girl? Like that wasn't even her fault. She had nothing to do with it. You know, like they're both assholes. The girl that set him up and the and OP, which means original poster, by the way. Um, yeah, it's just such a weird situation. The comment underneath that says he treated her like garbage because she wasn't pretty. A lot of men think women who aren't pretty aren't real people and don't deserve to be treated with respect. And clearly, OP is one of them. All of the Nicole's dodged a bullet here. You know what? Yes, I have like a rant about that. I actually really hate when men do that. Okay, and I'll be fair too. Like men and women that treat somebody that they're not attracted to like shit just because they're not attracted to them. It's like that's such an asshole move. Like just treat people like people. I remember when I was working at this place in the mall when I first moved to Vegas, and I worked with a lot of people that were younger than me. And I remember that there was this one girl. She was super pretty, but there was this one girl that would, because we would make commission off of like sales and stuff. There's this one girl that would like steal people's like customers sometimes. And I was like frustrated about it because I had this one customer. And then and then like I went on my break, I came back and she like came back and she was like talking to the customer and she got the commission for that person, for that guy. And then another one of my coworkers was like, "Oh," she was like, "It's okay. I mean, that's just the way it is cuz she has pretty privilege," like insinuating that like I'm not pretty. So that's why I didn't like I wasn't able to um get the same like customers as her or whatever, or like, and I was just like, ouch. And that does kind of suck because I'm just like, damn, like, not saying that was a customer's fault, but just the whole like way that the whole like treating people pretty privilege and all that jazz turns out to be like it's such a crappy thing. Like I wish people can just treat people like people, you know. Um, but yeah, that that kind of sucks. I kind of feel like the Nicole that she wanted to set him up with probably would have been a good match for him anyways because they're both shallow. Because you know, like the girl that was trying to set him up, like she was saying that Nicole was like not attracted to him, and I guess that's fair. Like I don't know, I think I'm just on a tangent now. But anyways, what do you guys think about this story? Um, do you think OP is asshole? Do you think that the girl in the story is asshole? Do you think no one's asshole? Do you think everyone's asshole? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right, this was the last story. So, if you guys enjoyed hearing these stories, I don't know if any of them, I don't know if you can relate to any of these stories. Like, have you been on a double date before and did it not work out? Did it work out? Let me know. Thank you for listening up to this point. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.